So, how are you?
Not bad. Yourself?
Angry.
Angry. Yeah. I hear you, someone pissing your cornflakes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my long-standing gripe that never seems to be able to go away. And maybe it's just because I'm an old curmudgeon or something.
Curmudgeon.
But, all right, well, I guess I'll get into it here.
Sure.
So, in our current age, most people stream their movies.
Right.
Most people stream their music.
Right.
People don't own physical copies of things because of the convenience of streaming. It's so much easier.
Right.
You can open your Netflix and watch any movie you want. You can open your iTunes or your Google Music or your Spotify and just pick your favorite band and listen to them.
Right.
And that's what you do. I don't need a physical copy anymore because I can stream from wherever I am.
Exactly.
Well, here's where the downside of it comes in.
Right.
So I was on the cusp of converting to streaming quite a while ago.
Okay.
Just stream everything. I have a membership with Google Music. I have Netflix. I cut the cable with cable. I don't use cable anymore because you can't stream it. I'm not interested.
Right.
And I really like the Netflix model.
Right.
But now I'm just starting to think, when you're on Netflix and, you want to watch a show and you just pop it up and you watch it, but you're renting the ability to watch movies with Netflix. That's all you're doing. You're paying a rental fee. It's like you're going to Blockbuster.
Right.
And for the cost of, $12 a month, because that's what it is now.
Right. It's going up a little
bit. You can go to your Blockbuster video store and rent any movie you want as many times as you want.
Right.
You have a Blockbuster card. They used to have a card like that where you had unlimited rentals per month and you paid a monthly fee. And then you unlimited rentals a month.
Right.
You could do that. So that's what Netflix is. Now during the rental days, people are like, well, I can rent, why would I buy?
Exactly.
Which makes sense, right?
Right.
Except the movies you like, what if you go to the video store and it's not there? Or it's discontinued and they're not going to carry it anymore and they had one copy and it, the disc snapped in half or got scratched or whatever and they can't rent that anymore. Right. They go to the movie studios, so I want to buy 10 more copies to pump up the volume.
Right.
Oh, well, we don't make pump up the volume anymore. Sorry. What do? Just don't ever watch that movie again.
Pretty much. You don't have much choice.
So for me, when the whole advent of rental happened, yeah, we rented movies, but there are certain movies you just bought because you might rent them, 10, 15, 20 times. It's just cheaper to buy it.
Right.
Now, I agree with the rental model with Netflix, but there's still certain movies that Sylvia and I do buy.
Right.
And then when we buy them, we do like the convenience of the Netflix model, turn your TV on, pick the movie, and it just starts playing. That's kind of like that.
Right.
So when we buy our digital movies, when we buy our movies, we still buy a physical copy. And the reason we do is because when you buy a physical copy, you can get a copy of the movie, and sometimes you might get the DVD format, Blu-ray format. The DVD format is not obsolete because when you have kids, it pays to have a DVD copy of the disc that they will eventually destroy, and then you have the Blu-ray as a backup.
Exactly.
So the DVD is not obsolete when you have children. And most of the players they have for children are DVD players, not Blu-ray players. They're DVD players.
Right.
The reason for that are DVDs are cheap to make because kids break them and they're easier to replace.
Right.
So we would often buy the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the digital copy all comes in one box set.
Right.
And to get all three, like, generally, like, it might be $5 more or something like that, but you get 3 copies of the movie.
Right.
Now, in the old days, we didn't get the digital copy because the whole technology wasn't very good. You'd have to pop it into your computer. You'd have to rip it. There was no streaming back then. It didn't quite work as well as it can today.
Right.
But the downside to today is in the old days when you got a digital copy of the movie, you got an MP4 version of the movie or an not MPG, some audio format, some video format.
MOV,
and you actually had MOV. And you'd have a copy on your computer that you could play.
Yeah.
So you weren't streaming, but you actually had a digital copy akin to an MP3, and then you could watch it.
Right.
Just make copies of it, put it on this computer and on that computer, and drop a copy on your Xbox.
Right.
And then you could watch it wherever. You didn't need internet access to do it.
True.
But with the advent of streaming, they don't have that. When you get a digital copy, you actually don't get a digital copy of the movie. You get the ability to rent a digital copy of the movie. It never truly downloads. You're streaming it. Doesn't matter what you do. Like, if you're on Netflix, you can download the movie.
Right.
But I guess you're still downloading, but Netflix is the only one I think that really does that. But if you want to buy it off of YouTube or off iTunes or whatever,
right,
you're going to stream that. So here's what came up. There's a big fight between all the studios, all the movie studios,
mm-hmm.
and all the streaming services.
Right.
Now, the nature of that fight, I don't know what it is, but my speculation based on what happens is I'm going to explain to you. I'd like to get your 2 cents. This is kind of why I wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
So I go and buy a Marvel film. I get the digital copy.
Right.
I go on my computer. You go to a website, type in the code, and then it gives you the ability to get a streamable version of that movie that you can watch as many times as you want. And if it's a Marvel film, you can watch it pretty much on any player you want.
Okay.
You pick one, and then that's where it'll be.
Right.
So every time we buy a Marvel film, or Fox or Disney or whatever, we put the code in, and then it gives us the option of where to watch it, and we pick YouTube.
Right.
I got YouTube on the Xbox. I get it on my phone.
Right.
YouTube is the only video player app that's universal.
Right. Why download another player? It's already there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you can use YouTube on your Apple TV, even though they're competing companies.
Right.
But you can still watch your YouTube on your Apple TV. You can watch it on your Xbox. You can watch it on your smart TV. You can watch it anywhere.
Right.
Even on the Wii. I think they even had it on the Wii. Like, you can watch it anywhere.
Right.
But you can also, if you can opt out and, watch it on iTunes, you can download it, download the code to your iTunes. But you have to pick one or the other.
Right. So
fine, we don't have Mac products, so it's not what we,
right.
We can't afford Mac products in our family, so that's, we do YouTube.
Right. PC,
so,
just like everybody else.
Predominantly, we don't buy movies. Like, we don't buy movies like we used to. And the movies we tend to like happen to be the Marvel movies and the Fox films. So we came across some movies we bought, and they weren't from those studios. One was, I can't remember who it was, the one that does the Hunger Games, the one that does the Twilight movies, that studio.
Okay.
And then we bought some Warner Brothers films. So I'm like, oh, great, I'll put it on my YouTube, and, I'll have it in my catalog there. I can stream it whenever I want.
Right.
But the Warner Brothers one, Sony. I had a Sony one. Like, we just bought a Sony one. And Sony says cannot be played in iTunes. So,
Really?
yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, what can I download it to? So I look. So I haven't investigated this particular movie yet, but if I recall, you cannot play it on iTunes. I know that for sure because it says it on the back. But you also, I don't believe you can play it on YouTube or on like through Google and watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
So you have to go through another player.
Well, what player are they going to?
Well, I'm not sure what this one was on, but I know the Warner Brothers ones. I had the option of Flixter or Ultraviolet. Now, I don't know these two companies from a hole in the wall. I'm sure they're great, big companies. They do really well, and they make a lot of money.
Right.
But that means I have to create another account and watch the movie through them. But they don't play with Xbox. So if I want to watch it, I have to watch it on my laptop. I have to download the app. I have to create an account. I have to watch it on my laptop. If I want to watch it on the TV, I got to get a Google, it's called Google Home or whatever.
Right.
The dongle thing. I can't remember what it's called. You have one.
Oh, Chromecast?
Chromecast, yeah. So if I want to cast it to my TV, I have to go buy a Chromecast.
Right.
If it's Chromecast supported, I don't even know if it is.
Oh.
So the only options that I have are ones that I gotta create an account because I can't cast it to my TV. I gotta plug something from my computer to my TV just to watch a movie because they're not playing nice with Google or iTunes.
Right.
So then I'm like, okay, fine, you win. I paid extra for the digital copy that I can't use. But I'm going to freaking use it because I paid the extra money for it.
Right.
So I sign up for Ultraviolet, set up my movie there. So I got my Wonder Woman movie over there on Ultraviolet. So I get a notice via email, and all of a sudden, Ultraviolet's closing its doors. So what's going to happen to my movies now? There's a number of movies I had to do through Ultraviolet because they wouldn't support the other two players that everyone else uses.
Right.
And I don't like that. I want to watch my movies in one place. I want to be able to turn my Xbox on and see my movie collection.
Right.
And pick the movie I want to watch. I don't want to go to Ultraviolet, look at the movies I have on there, and then I don't want to go, okay, well, what service is that on? Oh, I'm going to go to my YouTube and see what I have there. Oh, no, but I downloaded this one to Flixter. Well, I'm going to open my Flixter now and see it. I want my library in one freaking place. And when movies were actual digital copies, not streaming copies, but when they were actual digital copies, you could play them on whatever freaking player you want to play them on. They're digital files. You move them. You remember, Todd? We used to throw it all on a hard drive.
Yeah.
Plug it in, and then.
I think it's the copyright thing because if you have the movie and you give it to someone else, and then it's got to have like a key thing that can only be activated by logging in and all this other crap.
Oh yeah, and I can understand that they want to make their money, and they feel because everyone there was a period, which I think is lesser now, but a lot of people are just downloading torrents, downloading the movie, and instead of buying it, and they're losing a bunch of revenue.
Right.
Okay, I can understand they want to make their money, but you don't want me to be able to watch your freaking movie. So I can either buy a digital copy directly from Google Play, so right from my like through YouTube, buy the movie from there, and not get a physical copy. If I want to watch it on YouTube, that's the only way I can do it. If you're if you're Studio A or Studio B.
Right.
Why? Why can't I go to Google, say I want to buy this movie, and then they mail me a physical copy?
Can you not do that anymore?
No. It doesn't work that way.
Well, you can't buy CDs unless DVDs, unless you go to Walmart. I don't know. Do they have them in department stores? Do they still have DVDs? Yeah,
well, barely.
Barely? Just only if it's a box office hit.
Well, yeah, like you go to Best Buy and their movie selection's so small because everyone's buying digital copies. But when you buy the digital copy of the movie, you are paying a rental fee. It's a one-time rental fee. You can watch it as many times as you want until they pull it.
Until they pull it.
Like, what the fuck's that?
Okay.
So, what's your 2 cents? I think we know mine.
Well, I can see, I mean, to have to jump through hoops to get something that you paid for is ridiculous. I mean, these streaming places that you were actually logged into that went tits up, how did they actually get their money? Did they get it from the movie? Probably not. They probably got it through a third-party source. Something fell through, didn't work out, whatever. I can see that. I mean, when I used to when you could buy movies, or when you can still buy movies, or last time I ever bought a movie, it was the movie and that was it. There was no digital content. There was no other stuff with it. If there was any extra scenes on it, sometimes they'd give you an extra disc, which would have all that extra stuff on there that you would normally have. Now the dawn of this digital era, where everything's progressed, gone from, was it the winding? I can't remember now what the film. Remember they look like little ViewMasters, like you turn the crank and then you have a movie. It would be like black and white or something. Okay, so you went from that, and then you went from what, Video 8 or whatever forms to the point of this day and age. Now they've gone from the DVD to the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray to 4K. I guess I don't know if I'm assuming 4K is better than Blu-ray.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so now they've gone to that, and then it just keep progressing and progressing. Now along the way, I guess they've said that, okay, well, we'll give you the digital version of this movie in whatever format they had. Now, does Warner Brothers or these other ones that you dealt with that go through YouTube, are they still in business? And do they still work? If you wanted to watch a movie tomorrow, you could just load it and away you went, right?
Never had an issue.
Never had an
issue. And I use it all the time because it's convenient for the kids.
Right.
Because we buy Disney movies. Oh, I want to watch Moana. Well, you know what? I don't know where the Moana disc is because it might be in your toy box. It might be here. It might be there. I just hop onto YouTube.
Yeah.
And they know where to find it too. So it's easy for everybody.
Yeah, you'll find it in 3 years in your Def Leppard CD thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like cassettes. I had the same thing with cassettes. I mean, you open up the cassette, it's like, it's supposed to be Rush. It's like Van Halen. They're all mixed up. It's the same idea. So yeah, the digital version, it's all in one place. You just search it, load it, you're done. You don't have to look through boxes of where the hell did I put the movie, or have a specific. Remember back at the VHS, like all this Disney stuff, and it was like, you got to have every Disney movie ever made on VHS. It'll be worth a lot of money, God knows when, right? So everybody had to have a specific bookshelf just to hold those movies because they took up a lot of a lot of real estate. But now with all this digital stuff, now they're running into problems. So you had a physical copy, whether it was VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Okay, so you had the thing, like you bought it, you paid for it, it's in your hands, you can actually feel it and touch it. Now with everything being virtualized, I mean, earlier I figured I was watching Ellen or something, and they had some kids showed them at Disneyland. I figured, you know what? Doesn't someone have like a 360-degree view of, or even like a virtual tour of Disneyland? I've never been to Disneyland, but hey, if anybody wants to go, can't afford to go, always wonder what it looked like, take the virtual tour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's technology now. The technology is there. You can do it. And if at the beginning people are saying, oh, well, we're going to wait and we want people to pay for this to see the tour. I mean, there's people, there's a dime a dozen of people that will go there themselves and film it and put it online because they want the hits for people to see it. So now the people who are trying to get money out of it are screwed.
Yeah.
So I mean, it digitizes everywhere. But now, if you're dealing with a company that's gone tits up, that's different from, Now, is this because the movie was made by a different company, or is it just because it was being sold through a different manner that is why it went through this other group instead of going through the YouTube route?
Well, none of the movie studios own their own viewing streaming services, or like DC is finally going to have their own streaming services where you can watch anything DC, or Warner Brothers, anything Warner Brothers.
Right.
Disney's running their own streaming service too, so everyone's going that route so they can control their content and how it's dispersed. Right. But before that, there was companies like YouTube and iTunes. They were the only ones, really, more or less at the time, that would pay a license, and they could sell a Disney movie through them. Disney made money off of it, of course.
Right.
But it was almost like distribution for Disney.
Right.
But now, I think, like, Disney obviously doesn't have a problem with it, but I think Warner Brothers and Sony and some of these other companies have their panties in a knot over iTunes, the inception of iTunes and YouTube, and illegal streaming of movies, people, buying the movie and then showing it to everybody so everybody can watch it. I think they're upset about that. They're upset about the pay structure of how iTunes works, specifically with music, 99 cents for a song. Well, the only one making money off that stuff is iTunes. Like, the labels make no money off of it. The artist makes no money off of it. Like, we've talked about that before. Yeah. The only one that makes movie off is the streaming service people. So Netflix makes money, iTunes makes money, Google Play or Google Music makes money. They're the ones that make the money. It's not the people who make the content that make the money. Netflix is the exception, where they actually pay the artist for the content. They actually go to the artist and say, "Hey, make me a movie. Here's $100 million. Go make me a movie."
Right.
That's they're the only ones doing it. So they're actually ahead of the curve for streaming and that sort of thing.
Right. Well,
but I think they don't want to go through iTunes or Google for that reason. It's like, you know what? You guys have been ripping us off. We were making money hand over fist before you guys came along, and now we're getting ripped off. We're never going to go through you guys.
Right.
But then they go through another company that does the same thing. So I don't understand.
Well, it's one of those things. People do things just out of spite sometimes.
Well, I think that's totally what it is.
Or it's the same person's cousin's nephew's uncle's daughter who opened up a streaming thing, and their uncle is the founder of Warner Brothers Digital or some stupid thing. So we'll go through this company, or whatever company they go through has a better kickback than the one that they could have went through. So there's all kinds of reasons why they don't all go through the same monopoly, I guess. Sometimes they kind of want to spread it out. And actually, was it diethylamide? Actually, there was a post today, and this was a topic we talked about, where to sell one DVD or one CD, physical CD, you get way more money than if you get 5,000 plays on, whatever streaming service that you have. That you go.
Well, more than 5,000. What do we looked at it?
Yeah, just
it might take 5,000 plays to get the money for one CD.
Yeah. So it's just kind of it's ridiculous. But everyone goes a different route. That's the digital way. So now the digital people who are streaming the service, now they're raking in the cash, right? They're all they want their little piece of the pie. So everybody tries to be the middleman for everyone else. And same with this company that went belly up. They wanted to be the middleman for whatever reason, but hey, it didn't work out. So now you get to suffer, and now you have to jump through hoops. From what I read in the article that you sent me, it shows that you should be able to register with the movie, like wherever the movie was, like whatever company, whether it was 20th
like
Century
Warner
or
Brothers
whatever.
or whoever,
you should be able to go there and link somehow. I don't know how, but it's a pain in the ass regardless to have to go elsewhere to be able to get the content.
I looked, and now it's going to give me the option of going through Flixter, the other app I don't use that doesn't work with my Xbox.
Right.
Or there's another one which is no different than the one that went belly up. So I mean, but it's funny because if I can go to Walmart or wherever, I can go pick up a movie or the CD.
Right.
I can take that CD, I can rip it to my computer.
Yep.
So I can have it on my phone, I can have it on my tablet.
Yep. I
can put it on my Xbox and I can listen to that music or movie.
Right.
Well, music is easier to do, but I can listen to it wherever I want. So when I buy it, I'm buying it for me. So I can use it in any way I see fit as long as I'm not making money off of it. That's the way the rule works.
Yeah, you paid for it, it's yours.
But that's not the way it works anymore. When you buy, so if I buy it for $20 at Walmart, I can buy the same copy, a digital copy is the same price as the physical copy. However, you don't own the movie. You can't, you don't own the movie. You don't.
Like when you buy it?
You're paying, when you're buying a digital copy, you don't own that movie.
Oh, the digital.
You are paying, you're paying them for the ability to rent that movie. So for the same price as owning a physical copy of the movie,
mm-hmm.
you can rent it from us as many times as you want.
Wow.
Why is it the same price? You're getting less value for it. I know they're trying to sell the value. Well, you can watch it anywhere.
Yeah, you're paying for our hard drive space. You're paying for our network. You're paying for our infrastructure. You're paying for our lunches or our vacations.
If anything, I think the digital copy, if it's the same price, they should be able to mail you a physical copy, or have a reduced price, because very often when you buy it, you don't get all the special features, you don't get all the stuff that you get on a physical copy.
Right.
And you don't get to carry it wherever you want.
Right.
You have to have access to Wi-Fi. You have to, you have to have the right app to watch it. You have to, this and that. There's an inconvenience fee that we should be charging. I don't mind paying for the movie. I really don't. But, they're like, get rid of your collection. Buy it on digital. Why? There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee I can listen to it later. Here's an example. Every time, I used to use iTunes all the time. But every time, there's a new version, and there's a new version literally every 2 or 3 days. There's always an update for iTunes. On my computer. It pops up all the time.
Yeah, I know. I just cancel that.
Every time that happens,
right.
I lose songs that I paid for and downloaded in the past. And I have to go back and retrieve them. And some of them are not retrievable because the artist has pulled their music. It's out of print. But hey, wait a minute. I bought that CD. I spent the $10 to buy that CD. Where is it? I didn't buy the CD. I bought the digital copy, but I paid. I bought it. Where is it? Well, we don't distribute that artist anymore. But I paid for it. No, you paid for the rental of that song to listen to as many times as you want, as long as we carry it. Come on. If I go buy the CD and the artist says, I don't want you to have that anymore, you don't have to give it back to him. I'm not going to see Anthony from a diethylamide come into my house.
Right.
You know what, that CD you bought for me? I'm going to take it back because I don't want you to have it anymore. I'm not going to support my CD anymore. I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to pick up that CD that, you bought off of me.
Right.
That's not how it works. You buy the CD, it's yours forever or until it breaks. With streaming, when you buy, quote unquote, buy a digital copy of it, you are not getting it. You are renting it. You're paying for the option of renting it as many times as you want.
Right.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to buying physical copies of shit. I don't care. None of this shit's convenient for me. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. It's they're moving along with technology. I mean, my vehicle that I bought a couple years back. There's no CD player. There's no tape deck. There's nothing. There's a USB.
You buy a laptop, there is no CD player either. So everyone's in collusion with each other to get us away from using the physical copies.
Yeah. So
because they can control the digital copyright of it.
Yeah. Well, anything that has anything physical, that's usually people who take it out to the lake who don't have Wi-Fi or anything like that, and they bring a TV set, and then they can watch the movies on their either VHS or DVDs or whatnot. But the digital copies, mind you, if they have hard drives and they're able to do it, then that works.
Yeah.
But if you can't, like I think, because with Netflix, I believe you can download.
You can download. They're the only ones I'm aware of that do it. I could be wrong.
Now, do you know anybody who has bought our album on iTunes? And if so, do they still have it, or did they take it away from them?
They hide it. So if you physically, back in the day, because I used to buy from iTunes all the time,
right?
They hide it on your hard drive. So when you downloaded the physical copy from them, because that's the only way it worked back in the day,
right?
They hide it. They encode it.
Well,
but there's ways of changing it, but they purposely would hide it so you couldn't actually listen to it, or it was very difficult to listen to it on anything but iTunes.
Right.
So if you want to listen to it on your Windows Media Player, you can't. If you want to listen to it on your music player that's not iPod, you can't.
Right.
You want to listen to it on your phone that's not an iPhone, you can't. Like, that's the way they did it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, iTunes has been trying to get away from having physical copies. You're not going to download a copy. You're going to buy it, and we're going to keep it on our server.
Right.
And then you can listen to it from our server. That's what they want. They want to control the media so no one else can have it, probably because of the pirating and all this stuff. But in the end, for people like me who pays for my stuff,
right, I'm
getting shafted. It's like, I'm paying for this stuff. Like, why can't I have it? It's like buying it. I don't know. It's like I said, Anthony's going to come over to my house and I'm going to have to give him his CD back because he doesn't want it on the market anymore. So for the people that bought the Dome CD,
right,
now that it's, it's going off the streaming services,
right,
it hasn't yet, but it is. Once that's off the streaming services and you paid for it, I think that means you can't listen to it anymore.
I think that would be correct, yeah.
And if that is the case, if anyone has bought it, please contact us. We will give you a copy. Like, honestly, because that's not fair.
No.
Anyway, that's my rant. That's all I got. I'm home. Pissed off. But I'm like, what I'm saying is, I am going back to buying CDs again, because this is going to implode. Like, this is not working.
Right.
And eventually, so the market's going to have to change because it doesn't work in its current model.
Right.
And with the advent of, if YouTube ever went belly up or iTunes ever went belly up, like, what's going to happen then to all the stuff that you paid for?
Right. Yeah, that sucks. But at least, hopefully, with the link they gave you and what you have to do, you'll be able to still watch the movies.
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's a shame that you have to jump through hoops to be able to do that.
Yeah. Like, I was better off, I did buy the physical copy, which is great.
Right.
But it's a good thing I did. It's a good thing I didn't buy the digital copy. Just the digital copy. If I'd have just bought that, then I would have been out, the whole $25.
Right. Yeah, that would have sucked.
Multiple times over. Like.
Right.
Anyway, all right. I'm gonna sign off. I'm at home.
No.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me vent.
Oh, no problem.
I'm gonna link Sam on this because I know Sam. This is Sam from Which Place is his biggest argument. Like, physical copies versus digital copies. He's this is gonna get his ire up, and I can't wait. I love seeing that guy mad. He gets all excited to post a good video of him driving. It's freaking awesome. And another thing, he gets so mad. He's so passionate. I love it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. All right.
All right then.
See you on the flip side, brother.
Okay. Talk to you later.
All right.
Okay. Bye.